Thanks for joining us for CBN News Today. I'm Charlene Aaron.
And I'm Ephraim Graham. At least 2 people are dead after thunderstorms and tornadoes rolled through the South Monday, causing flash flooding and tearing a trail of destruction. Among the dead, a 9-year-old girl. Dale Hurd has the story.
The drenching rain came down hard and fast across the South, and this tornado shot from a phone can be seen descending on a neighborhood in eastern North Carolina. Afterwards, snapped trees, overturned cars, roofs gone, and more than a dozen people sent to the hospital. High winds also swept through Baton Rouge, leaving homes like this one badly damaged. At least 9 apparent tornadoes tore across Mississippi, damaging homes and this church, leaving nearly a dozen people injured. The storms also triggered dangerous floodwaters.
The bottom floor of my house is underwater, and the water level is rising.
Countless cars had water up to their roofs. Rescue workers wearing life jackets waded through chest-deep water to reach stranded residents. The body of a 9-year-old Mississippi girl was pulled from a drainage ditch after she was swept away. Storms dropped nearly 7 inches of rain there over the last 2 days. Near Atlanta, a driver was found dead in a car in a swollen creek. A much happier ending in Smyrna, Georgia. A mother and her 3-year-old survived when a giant tree flattened part of their home. In Birmingham, firefighters raced through knee-deep water to rescue a man and his 2 little girls from a submerged car. And nearly 100 families were trapped in this Alabama apartment complex. Some had to be rescued by boat.
They were freaking out, just hyperventilating, and they were just trying to make sure everyone was up, everyone was awake, and we're knocking on friends' doors.
In Augusta, Georgia, where the Masters golf tournament is being held this week, practice round play was halted Monday 2 hours after it began. It was the first time in 11 years that weather washed out a Monday practice round. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
The former IRS official at the center of the Tea Party targeting scandal may face criminal prosecution. Investigators say they've discovered evidence that could incriminate Lois Lerner. Lerner headed up the IRS tax-exempt division. She's accused of playing politics, targeting conservative groups for extra scrutiny. Lerner apologized on behalf of the IRS when the issue first surfaced, but she has refused to answer questions at congressional hearings. A House committee will vote Thursday on whether to hold her in contempt of Congress.
A congressional leader is denouncing the gay activist protest that forced Mozilla's new CEO to resign last week. Mozilla created the Firefox browser. CEO Brendan Eich stepped down after online attacks over a $1,000 contribution he made in 2008, supporting California's ban on gay marriage. Representative Frank Wolf says Americans should not be demonized over what remains a deeply held religious conviction for many. The Republican congressman noted that when Ike made his donation, even Barack Obama said he believed marriage was only the union of a man and a woman.
The U.S. Supreme Court has refused to hear the case of a New Mexico photographer punished for not taking pictures at a gay wedding. The owners of Elaine Photography declined the job due to their religious beliefs. That led to a discrimination complaint, thousands of dollars in fines, and a long court battle that made it to the state Supreme Court. The New Mexico court stated the owners would be compelled by law to compromise the very religious beliefs that inspired their lives as the price of citizenship. Congressman Randy Forbes is criticizing the U.S. Supreme Court for refusing the case. He stated, "The ability to freely speak and live according to our beliefs is the prize, not the price of citizenship, and we all have a stake in protecting it."
Attorney Jordan Lawrence with Alliance Defending Freedom represents Elaine Photography and joins us now with more. Mr. Lawrence, the court had debated whether or not it will hear the case for some time. Why do you think it ultimately declined?
Well, we're not sure why they did it, and there is some frequency where the court will wait for a case to, other cases like it to percolate through the system before they take one, so they don't take the first one. Although this was an excellent case, and it is very disappointing that they didn't take it.
That said, you're working on several similar cases. Is this an issue that the Supreme Court will eventually have to consider?
I think that the Supreme Court will, because this is not a denial of service situation. This is forcing people to produce and create expression that they don't agree with. Creating the photos that tell the story of a wedding is something that's more than just a service that's being offered. And people can have beliefs where they'll say, it violates my conscience to tell the story because my beliefs are not consistent with what is going on and I'm being asked to photograph.
As you clearly stated, the Elaine photography case focused on freedom of speech, not religious liberty. Will the Supreme Court have to address both issues at some point?
I think that they will. The religious liberty aspects may come up in some of the other cases, like the Arlene Flowers cases that Alliance Defending Freedom is doing in Washington State right now. And there's probably going to be others. I think what I'm concerned about is that this is going to embolden those who support redefining marriage to basically to continue on this hunt for people that disagree with them and to hold them up for public scorn and punishment.
We've been reporting on the backlash that forced Brendan Eich out as CEO of Mozilla. Do traditional views on marriage still have a place in the public square?
Well, they should. And I mean, they certainly do not disqualify him or others from running organizations or working. I mean, can he be hired as an employee there? You get the impression that what they want to do is drive everyone who has a belief in traditional marriage to the outskirts of society. And there's many of those who even support redefining marriage, who are beginning to say, this is going too far. We should not be punishing people because of what they believe.
Tell us quickly about the Kentucky T-shirt printer who declined to make T-shirts promoting a gay pride festival. What happened there?
Well, this is another case that's coming up through the pipeline where the T-shirts obviously have messages on them, and the T-shirt company will sometimes say, we cannot in good conscience put that message on there. Here's some other alternative T-shirt stores you can go to get them manufactured. This was for a gay rights festival. The owner said, we cannot in good conscience do this, and the festival people that operated filed a complaint of discrimination, and that's now being litigated. And I think that these kinds of cases are going to increase and spread to more and more areas of American life.
All right, Jordan Lawrence of Alliance Defending Freedom, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Members of one of the largest churches in America are pledging to move forward following the sudden resignation of their pastor. At least 20,000 people attend Calvary Chapel in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Pastor Bob Coy left the pulpit Sunday after admitting to a moral failure. Church leaders say they're providing counselors to help the pastor through repentance, cleansing, and restoration.
I'm very sad, but you know, we're all sinners.
I don't think I'm in the right place to judge.
He was our leader, but we're still a strong church. So, you know, we have other pastors that are going to step up.
In a statement, elders said Pastor Bob will be focusing his full attention on his personal relationship with God and his family.
Turning overseas now, Ukraine's government is seeking to regain control after pro-Russian demonstrators in several cities. Protesters barricaded themselves inside government buildings in eastern Ukraine, demanding referendums be held on whether to join Russia. Ukraine's interior minister says protesters who seized the regional administration building in Kharkiv have been driven out. Meanwhile, the U.S. warns Russia of if more sanctions would happen if the troops move into eastern Ukraine. Secretary of State John Kerry will meet with top diplomats from Russia, Ukraine, and the European Union in a new push to ease the tension.
Well, here's a sight you don't see very often. Cell phone video of Christian human shields protecting a church from destruction in eastern China. Members of Sanjiang Church in Wenzhou were joined by neighboring churches this week to prevent government demolition of their building. They sang songs and prayed. Local government officials say the church was built without permission and is unsafe. Church leaders say Communist Party officials bristle at seeing crosses atop the church spires and have raised concerns about the rapid spread of Christianity in the province.
Still to come, from economic ruin to homegrown entrepreneurship, how some in Rwanda are thriving 20 years after the genocide there.
grandpa named Pop, right?
He died when I was your age.
I saw him in heaven.
What if an ordinary boy,
Is this him?
That's Pop.
Your son had a near-death experience.
discovered the answer to life's most extraordinary question?
Do you think my son went to heaven?
He told me everything was all right.
Based on the incredible true story.
We all want to be supportive.
I want to believe him. But everything he talks about is impossible.
Will you believe?
You saw heaven? It's beautiful.
Heaven is for real. See it this Easter. Rated PG.
Hi, I'm Wayne Allen Root, former presidential candidate, conservative national media personality, best-selling author, and true blue patriot. I call what we're living in today the Great Depression 2. More Americans now receive government entitlements than work full-time. The typical family earns less today than in 1989. I understand exactly what's happening to this economy and how you can protect yourself. So I sat down and taped a 30-minute DVD on the topic with all the critical steps needed to ensure Americans can both survive and thrive in 2014. It's called The Timeless Truth About Money. And it's only available in this special TV offer by calling the number below or by visiting online. Thanks to Swiss America, you'll finally understand the true goal of Obamacare, how our trillions in debt will sink the economy, and most importantly, why your golden years require a whole new golden strategy. Call now.
Start planning your journey to the Holy Land. Come to Jerusalem. Breathe the air Jesus breathed that very night in the Garden of Gethsemane. Walk in his footsteps to Golgotha. Step inside the tomb. See the stone where his body lay. Glory to God, he is risen. Ask your pastor or visit goisrael.com to learn more about making the journey that will transform your faith in God and his word. Experience Israel. You'll never be the same.
Armed groups kidnapped 3 Christian missionaries working in northern Cameroon. Church and government leaders say 2 Italian priests and a Canadian nun were abducted. Vatican Radio reports it has not ruled out that the Islamic fundamentalist group Boko Haram may be responsible. Italy is now warning against travel to that area, citing the risk of danger from Muslim rebels crossing the border from Nigeria.
This week marks the 20th anniversary of the genocide in Rwanda. When the tragedy ended, Rwanda's economy was in ruins, but now it's become one of Africa's surprising success stories. One reason? Homegrown entrepreneurs. And as I witnessed when I traveled there, Regent University is helping hundreds of Rwandans turn bright ideas into thriving businesses. Rwanda was once called a tropical Switzerland in the heart of Africa. Today, that beauty has returned to the landscape and to the faces in this East African nation.
When you look around in town, you can see that the country has a direction.
Many credit President Paul Kagame for giving the country that direction.
To want a prosperous nation, to want your people to have ownership.
It was Kagame and the Rwandan Patriotic Front that led its people out of genocide in 1994. This land of 1,000 hills saw nearly 1 million people killed in just 100 days of ethnic violence. During that time, Serge Kamari returned to Rwanda from Congo and joined the RPF army in fighting.
There were so many problems going on. One time you have one group of people who are killing the others, and you also have another group of people who are working hard to stop the killing and to also bring back so many Rwandans that were living outside of the country. And it happened. That's one thing that I'm proud of being Rwandan, that we solved our own problem.
Serge is now helping boost his country's growing economy. He owns Jalen's Bakery, a spot for tourists and Rwandan transplants to socialize, satisfy their sweet tooth, and even grab a freshly baked bagel.
It's only 2.5 months that we're here, and it is a success.
Kamari began writing his business plan as a student at Rwanda's Business Development Center, or BDC. It's a hands-on 14-week school created by Regent University's Center for Entrepreneurship.
It changed what I learned or knew about business. And one particular thing I remember is that they taught us to do business not from our head, but from our heart.
Serge Kamari is one of 200 entrepreneurs who learned to build a successful business through Regions Development Center here in Rwanda. And that kind of success has allowed the school to expand its program to Uganda and India.
We exist to help transform people and nations using business.
Jason Benedict helped to get the center running.
The government here in Rwanda threw the door open for us and said, we want to be the first. And so they actually helped make that happen.
We are among the top and fastest growing economies in Africa. So, and a place where doing business is convenient.
Jean Bosco Ayachu is the Development Center's CEO. The former banking executive is also a graduate with 2 successful businesses.
Our aim is to make sure that the graduate has a viable and a profitable business.
The BDC pairs graduates with mentors from around the world. Jean Bosco sees an even bigger lesson taught by the school.
How do you give back to the community? How do you support other individuals to reach their full potential?
That lesson comes to life back at Jalen's Bakery. The shop is named after Serge's wife, Jennifer Lynn, who came to Rwanda from Canada as a missionary.
I remember particularly they said it's good to find a business that you have the skill, or people who will work with you who have the skill. And I remember that in my own family. I have a wife who's an excellent baker.
It was just like, here's a gift from God. So that's how we're treating this place. It's a gift. And so we're responsible for that.
Serge and Jennifer employ 20 people, 17 of them struggling women.
They all come from situations where they would not be able to pay the rent, put food on the table, pay for school fees for their children. And they earn a small salary here, so they're able to do some of that. We help them out with their medical needs on top of that.
As they learn to make cookies, cakes, and cupcakes, Serge and Jennifer work
to get them to dream, to even think that they were created with purpose and that they have a role in the kingdom. And it's not about making money at all.
This bakery is a mini business development center.
Same sort of foundational sort of stuff. They've got to have, in 18 months to 2 years, they'll have their little feasible business plan. It's going to work. They can go and they can implement their business, and we'll help them, do that with whatever, they save some capital, we'll add to it, whatever that looks like. They can start their own entrepreneurial businesses. And, it's great that they work here. I love each one of them, but I want them to move beyond me.
It's a concept that can only add to the country's beauty. And to learn more about Regent University's Center for Entrepreneurship or any of its educational opportunities, you can check out online at regent.edu.
Up next, the Underground Coffee Project. See the novel idea that's setting captives free from a life of sin and crime.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans. with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right. You could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Police in several states are trying to solve a series of highway shootings. Kansas City has been rocked by 13 such shootings. In the most recent case, a man was driving down the highway when his car was suddenly struck by a bullet. It went through the passenger back door and no one was hurt, but police are investigating to see if the 13 incidents are related. Meanwhile, in Seattle, Washington, a man fired 6 shots into a woman's car. She was driving down the freeway when she says a slender black male in a gold 1990s Buick pulled alongside and started trying to talk to her. She sped up, and that's when he fired the 6 shots. Luckily, she was unhurt.
Luckily, it was on a Sunday and not in the middle of rush hour traffic or a normal Tuesday here in Fife, because the freeway gets pretty loaded with cars.
Police say these kinds of shootings often happen at night under the cover of darkness, but this was in broad daylight.
Millions of Americans get caught up in drug addiction and the cycle of crime, and those who get sucked in often get stuck there.
That's right. Prisons have a poor record of helping these people break free, but one ministry is seeing some remarkable success. Caitlin Burke went to Washington State to bring us this look at the Underground Coffee Project.
It's morning in the Skagit Valley small town of Burlington. And in the basement of this 100-year-old bank building, the Underground Coffee Project begins another day's work. These men come from a different kind of underground: gangs, prison, drug addiction.
Well, I was a heroin addict and a meth cook and a meth addict and a cocaine addict, and I used all of those on a daily basis. And so for 17 years, I was in agreement with evil.
At Underground Coffee, it's about more than just roasting the coffee beans. There's a profound message for the men in how the beans get from this to this.
These cold, hard, ugly beans come into the roaster. The heat changes them and changes their character, changes their appearance, changes their aroma and their flavor.
And that's exactly what happened with Zach. In time, the fire of the Holy Spirit cracked his shell, transforming this once violent, angry man into a humble servant of God.
What is your purpose in life now?
To share good news with people who are suffering and to suffer well with others. Like Jesus would go into people's suffering with them, and even when they're guilty and full of sin, that didn't separate him from them.
The Underground Coffee Project is part of Tierra Nueva, a ministry with a heart for people on the margins. And it all began with the beans. Honduras, 1981. Newlyweds Bob and Gracie Ekblad were deeply moved by the poverty there.
Most of the people there attributed their poverty to God's will. When we began discipling them in farming practices, and they began to have the same results we did, then suddenly God was sort of off the hook in a sense. And that opened the way for us to talk about God differently.
But it became clear the last thing those Honduran peasants wanted was a sermon.
In Spanish, a sermon is the same as a scolding. Most of the people that we work with assume that church is really a place where you go to be reminded of all the things you're not doing.
Bob explains in his book, Reading the Bible with the Damned, how he helped them discover for themselves the truth of God's unconditional love. In time, Tierra Nueva, or New Earth, was born. In 1994, Bob and Gracie moved back to Washington. As the county jail's new chaplain, Bob met Julio.
Tried to get help before, and it's like I've always got turned down because of my criminal background and because I was an active gang member. But Bob never looked at me like that. Tierra Nueva always accepted me with open arms. He told me Jesus loved me no matter what.
But Julio's shell was especially hard to crack, due in part to his gang ties and hardcore drug addiction. For 18 years, he was in and out of jail. Finally, he had nowhere else to turn. A bounty had been put on his head. Julio was on the run.
I was praying and I was asking God, if you could get me out of this one, I'll surrender to you. And the first thing that came into my mind was Pastor Robert and Tierra Nueva.
He immediately got on a bus and headed back to the Skagit Valley.
We baptized him 5 days after he came. We just watched him grow into an amazing sort of man of God. And so I guess I really believe in the importance of perseverance.
I didn't feel I was worthy of God's love from all the bad things that I had done in my past. Like, well, how could God want to use me? And I just kept remembering that Pastor Robert said, remember Paul? He was a crucifier of Christians, and Jesus used him to help people and to reach out to the people.
Tierra Nueva strips away the layers of religion, showing what Jesus' ministry was really like. In humility and unconditional love, they bear witness as modern-day Sauls are transformed into the image of Christ. Caitlin Burke, CBN News, Skagit County, Washington.
Do you have an idea for an invention or a new product? Brian and Alice Jagosh, the inventors of the halftime drill driver, did. They invented a power drill attachment that lets you drill, flip, and drive in seconds. Brian and Alice licensed their invention to the company that brought you the Snuggie, and it's now selling in major retailers nationwide. Look for the InventHelp K-band on the package. If you have an invention that you would like to try to patent and submit to companies for possible review and want free information on how InventHelp may be able to assist you, call now. InventHelp is America's largest inventor service company with sales offices in more than 60 cities nationwide. Call InventHelp today for free information. Our clients made a financial gain with their invention, but this is just their individual result. Brian and Alice's experience is not typical, as only a very small number of inventions are licensed or sold in stores.
For your free inventors information, call 1-800-559-8567. That's 1-800-559-8567.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Finally today, mixing faith with fitness.
That is exactly what members of One New York Church are doing to reach their community. Queens United Presbyterian Church has bought a gym, and the congregation is hoping people who just come to work out will eventually be interested in worshiping with them too. The church says it wants to help strengthen minds, bodies, and souls.
A lot of people think we're doing something which is unorthodox. Well, I'm not orthodox myself. Church isn't about just going someplace on Sunday, clapping your hands and singing. It's about doing something with what you believe.
I think it's a great way to give back to, the community, and the service here is fantastic. No complaints.
Sign me up. The fitness center is open 24 hours a day and free for church members. The church's main building is about 10 blocks away from the gym. And in New York, that's not very far.
That is not, but that's a wonderful idea.
Beautiful.
I love it. Well, that's going to do it for now on CBN News Today. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com.
Take the time to tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Hope you join us again right here next time. Make it a terrific Tuesday, everybody.
Inside every child is a hero, a leader, a friend to others, someone who helps out, who does the right thing, who dreams of what they can be, but they still need our help.
What should I do? What should I say? How should I feel?
That's where Superbook comes in. It provides moral and spiritual truths through situations children can relate to, teaching God's Word to the children you love. Join the Superbook DVD Club and receive Superbook's newest episodes as they're available, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25. Get Superbook today and watch the miracles happen.
Every day, people are connecting on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Now you can be part of the conversation and connect on topics you care about through 700 Club Interactive. Log on to Facebook, Twitter, or go to YouTube and share your opinions, your prayer requests, and your videos while making friends in our community.
Well, welcome to the show.
Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. 700 Club Interactive. Be a part of the show.